I'm going to start laying out the checkering pattern. Again, I'm copying this as much as I can with the shape that it is different. This is different shape than the one I've made. And I also have a front sling swivel to deal with. But I can work around all that, but I'm going to try to copy this this mountain stalker, Highland stalker pattern. Now you can see that this has a triple border. See this little border, how it's got 3 lines to it? Alright, I'm going to go with the inside. I'm going to discount the border. I'm going to go where the checkering meets the border. This is where all my measurements are going to be to. That point I would measure to there, not back to there. So the dimensions that I'm going to be using, I'm going to be taking where the checkering is, because that's what I'm going to cut first, and then I'll come back and add the border. Personally, I don't care for a triple border. It's just not my cup of tea. Browning used it. Rigby uses it a lot. To me, it's like 5 bananas on a banana split. But that's what the customer wants, and so that's what I'm going to do. Now I'm going to take reference from this point, this little crisp point on the very top of this stalk, to that point where the checkering comes forward, and that is 1 inch. So I'm going to start with a 1 inch mark. The back end of this checkering is 7 7/16. Now that's going to put it, once that border is on there, it's going to put it about halfway down this fat spot in this receiver. I don't know what they call that, but it's just a big heavy place. It's where the barrel, where the bolt lug locks in. It's a point of strength. So I've got my 2 marks. Now this distance from the top flat down is a standardized distance. It's usually about 1/4, give or take. Now I'm going to measure this next point, the bottom point on the back, and this is a little bit tricky. I may have to just kind of eyeball that. It comes forward of the top point by about 3/8 of an inch, and so I'm just going to make me a 3/8 inch mark, 3/8 forward of this top mark, which is about right in there. And there's a center line that goes down this. There's a triple straight line where this checkering meets this checkering. They've divided it. You can see where this round section comes around the front of the trigger, the bottom metal, and it just kind of parallels that round. Well, I've got not only that to deal with, I've got this sling mount, which I'm going to come around it as well. I've already got my center line that I drew when I was inletting the sling mount, so I'm just going to use that pencil line that I've already got and measure how far it is from the edge of this metal. So I just need to stay a 1/2 inch away from the edge of that metal and parallel it all the way around until it comes out and touches this point here. Now I've got to duplicate those marks on this other side. I can do that off camera. I'm going to make my 1/2 inch margin up here on the front as well. I'm going to have to freehand and come around that oval, which I can do that. Alright, that's my front. Once I get my marks transferred to the other side, now this angle is a 3.5 to 1 proportion, and I have a piece of plastic over there. Denbard actually sells those, a checkering gauge, And it's a 3.5 to 1 proportion. I can get all that. What I'll use for my master lines will be this back line right here. Alright, now to go to the back. This is essentially a straight line from here all the way up and over to here. It's a straight edge ruler laid on that curve, and you got to imitate it on both sides and end up at the same place. Now you can come off of this wood and come up that far, and that is 5/16. So it's 5/16, and it's parallel. This bottom flat cut on that grip cap, I can mark 5/16 front and back. And that'll give me that dimension. And then I'm going to freehand parallel this curvature of the inside of the grip. It's about, if you look straight at it, you can't see it from there, but if I look straight at it, it's about 5/16 up from there. So this is I know this is a very low-tech way to do this, but this is the way I've done it for 40 years. You just put your finger there, and you just draw it. If you don't like it, you erase it and draw it again. Actually, I'm going to come on up a little because that triple border is really a pain. Trying to get your checkering down too far into the front of that grip, it becomes really dicey getting your checkering tools in there. Now this one has, some of them don't have it, but this one has a little tip up. It comes parallel the grip and then it tips up. And it just follows the checkering lines. Whatever the angle is, it just takes one of those lines and just tips up. The top line is determined by coming across from the other side and over. So this top line and this top line are determined by that straight line, that straight edge line. And that straight line starts back here in this crotch, about 1/8 of an inch forward of this crotch back here, and it intersects with this bottom 5/16 line. So it'd be about right there is where it starts. And then it crosses over, well, it's easier to get in here and measure with this. From the back of the metal, the tang, it crosses over at about 0.57. So it's 0.5625 is 9/16. I'm just going to take my calipers and just make a little dot. Just a little scratch. That's where, and that lines up with the center line, which is right there. So that straight edge will lay here, cross here, transfer over to here. And I hope this line is long enough to do that, because this ruler, well, I got to get this metal out of the way. I might be able to just remove the bolt, and that might be enough to. I may have to take the stock off of the receiver. This is a really flexible piece of plastic. This one right here is just a wonderful, thin, very, very straight, strong, and it'll bend right around whatever you put it on. See how I'm doing that? The problem is it takes 3 hands, and I only have 2 at the moment. So what I do is put a piece of tape on one end of it, get it secured, and then I'll bend it over the other mark, and then I'll take a pencil and like so. Sometimes that can get ugly, so I'm not going to do it on camera, but that's the process. Once I get this done, then I'll mark my master lines, and I'll get back with you when I start the checker. I've got 2 stocks to finish today, and I'm going to be using, this is the finish that a friend of mine, Dan, in Georgia, turned me on to this. Expensive stuff. It's about $45 a quart. But it does the best job I know. And it's extremely sensitive to oxygen, air. And so what I do is, when I seal it, put a piece of plastic underneath it, just another little liner, and I'll blow my breath. I'll exhale into this, because you know the top of this thing there's that much air in it. If you don't do that, you need to somehow or another take up the space of what you've used out. Some people put clean rocks, which I don't know about that one. Some people use ball bearings, steel ball bearings that are clean. Of course, you can't pollute this in any way with oil or grit or anything. So whatever you put in there's got to be clean. But it will displace the space and then rise the level up so there's no space left. But I find that air works well. I've heard that acetylene works really well. If you have a gas torch, you can just blow acetylene in there and then slam the lid on it right quick. And you're forcing the air, the oxygen, out of there. When you blow into it, you're forcing carbon dioxide in. This doesn't react with carbon dioxide. Well, thanks for choosing to spend your time here with me today. I hope you've enjoyed this program. I'll try to post a new segment each weekend. In addition, if you'd like to read about a stock that I made and then it took a 20-foot free fall, click on the link at the bottom of this page. It's called The Broken Gun. It's a story I wrote a few years ago about my 2 boys. Sometimes life's hard and things get broken. Now and then we get a chance to fix them. I'm so grateful for the opportunity I had to repair this broken stock. It led to a restoration that I never could have imagined. As always, if you like this video, please click the like button and share this with your friends. Have a great day.